Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah.
You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Just keep them claps going for me. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Weighing deeply up on top of my conscience. All the other bitches, girl, they're just an option, but not the option that I want. Cause you are the girl, yeah, the girl I got. And you are the side, yeah, the side I fly. And girl, I'm a top dog, we both understand this. If I ever lost you, I admit that it'd be tragic. I'd be wreaking havoc, maybe call her Ruchi's antics. Getting pretty good at throwing away chances, yeah, throwing them away. What else I gotta say? I love you, baby girl, so baby girl, stay. Alright, to any girl wondering if this song is about them.
Ready for this?
It is.
It is. I love you all. I love women.
To every female on this planet.
Yeah, I love women.
No boyfriend, or a great boyfriend.
I don't care about a boyfriend. I'll still love you.
With all of his heart.
Who wants my Snapchat now? Alright, so this next song, I might rap fast and get out of breath.
I just want to say, like, I performed in front of 1,000 people before. I performed in front of A-list celebrity artists, but for some reason this day right now, and even on the stage right now, I feel something really special just because of the reason why we're here. And the reason why we're here is really important to me because me, myself, and my family, we were a refugee family and we came here to America from war. So we know all about slavery, we know all about poverty, we know all about the struggle. And this song that I'm gonna sing right now kind of explains that a little bit. I need y'all to listen to these lyrics just a little bit. I just wanna light up and roll up the weed right now. That's how I wanna get down. The white man won't call the police right now. I swear I won't go down. I do this for my refugees. Don't let the system break us down. They force us into drugs and war. No money to feed the poor. A dying son lying on the floor. He said, Mama, it's my time. Please don't cry no more. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah. We're around the corner right now by the street light. Didn't even make it past midnight. Pretty girl down the street wanna meet him in the alley, but he knew that something didn't seem right. So he went and called the boys. They strapped up cause they paranoid. All they know is kill and destroy. Don't try and hide in your house cause we can burn it down. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. 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 I hope hope you guys really like that vibe. I hope you guys get the message from that song. That song is real dear to my heart. It makes me kind of get the shivers every time I do it, so it's crazy. Thank you so much for listening to that. Make some noise for the mayor. I think we got the mayor in the building right now. I took a picture with him, so I'm super happy about that. My name is Crazy Flo. I'll be back on stage here to perform a couple more songs. I hope you guys really liked it. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for being here today. From my understanding, this is the first recorded Juneteenth celebration in our city's history. So y'all are a part of history. And that's a beautiful thing, and it's good to see everybody, no matter what your background is, here today, celebrating something that's really important in our nation's history that rarely gets talked about in our schools. And that needs to change.
Yes, sir.
Because we need to embrace our history, whether it's a positive history or not so good history. And I think that that is something that our community and our school system needs to embrace, because with that struggle, having those conversations about history that might not be the best history, that's how we grow. And we come together and we create more and new opportunities for our families in our region. So with that being said, I'm just going to share a couple things with y'all that, one of the reasons why, or a few of the reasons why I ran for mayor, and what got me here today, and how I would like to see after me, because I'm not going to be here forever. I want to see a city where we have more diversity in our leadership, in our boards and our commissions. I would also like to see more diversity in our business owners in our city. And I want to see more of a community that looks like us. Teachers, business owners. I want to see families that are in homes, affordable housing. I want to see families coming together with that foundation to build upon for the future. And I will tell you this, I'm speaking unscripted.
From the heart?
From the heart.
Did a great job.
I came with a script, and I thought about it, and I'm just going to do my thing.
Perfect.
Because that's what's important, and that's what y'all want to hear. So here's the deal. I came up here in 1990, and I knew one person. I was kind of adopted by a Jewish family. Him and I were friends back in North Carolina. He moved up here. We stayed in contact. 1990, I came up here with no family, just me. And let's just say I was a hard-headed kid. We all kind of been there, right? At least once, a couple, twice, times. So I had to come up here to figure out things and figure out my life and what I wanted to do. I come from a single-parent mother. She's alive and well. She just got out of major surgery on her back, but she worked 20 years throwing in luggage for American Airlines. And she inhaled a lot of jet fuel, so she really paid a price for me to be standing here today. And besides my wife, she's my best friend in the whole wide world. And the reason why I share that with everybody here today is because here's the deal. Y'all are in this region for a purpose. There's something that fuels you to be here 6 months out of the year in the freezing cold. There is something here that keeps you here. And it's that opportunity and that possibility of building a foundation that you can grow on and that your children and your families can grow on for the future. That's why I'm here. And when I look at everybody here today, I want you to know that without putting myself out there, there's nothing that you haven't struggled through that my family has not also struggled through as well. And I know what it's like to have to be a part of living somewhere where sometimes you feel like you may not belong. What I'm telling you today is that, to borrow Destiny's theme for today, which is a brighter day, and don't get it twisted, all because the sun's not out doesn't mean we are not in the middle of a brighter day. Yes, sir. Okay? There's going to be a brighter day in our community because we have leadership in place that's going to respond to any questions or concerns anyone has. The end-all be-all goal is that if you have concerns, if you have those hopes and dreams, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it.
Yes.
I was talking to my brother over here who wants to open up his own restaurant. There are resources, there is grant money, there are things available that if you want to own your own business, just talk to somebody. We can make that happen. That is a purpose that we are trying to serve for everybody in our community. The problem is, as my mom told me, and I love to eat, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you want those hopes and dreams to come a reality, take advantage of what we have. I am your resource. Councilmember Shelley Dahlquist is in the house. She is a resource. Yeah. My sister back here, Kara Glow, on the school board, she is a resource. Yep. Okay? There are people here that are going to make everyone's day, your future, bright. That's why you are here. Utilize us. Yep. I take phone calls on a Sunday. We all good. But I'm asking you all to dream big. Not only for yourselves, but for your children. I got my 2 children here. I'm putting them on the spot. We all have a role to play in being successful in what we want to have here in our city, in our region. So I pledge to you in the future, never give up. No matter how the struggle is, I have people around here that came on me, that looked to me, that believed in me, that got me standing here today. And it is important that we all, as a community, no matter what, still be that resource to make sure we all come up together. We all get our kids education. They all go to college. They all go to trade school with the hope that when they are done, they will have their own homes and they will be able to realize the next generation up and realize their dreams as well. Sister Destiny, thank you again for having me here today. God bless you all. Let's get out here and have a good time. Thank you again.
Woo! Thank you.
What's the low cast too? Where you at? You in the building, man? What's going on? Lit Magazine, you know what we doing. Life wasn't wonderful, hard times it put me through. Had to smoke a blunt or two with poverty in front of you. Mom's crying out, rent late, bills due. I'm flying out, it's straight, I got you. Bro told me, hope you in a stool. Keep right, fool. Told him used to be hard head, just like you. Listen to him, got my mind right. No loose screws, couple issues, it's the program, not Pro Tools. Black man, Million Man March, all the right moves. Hotel 5-star, sky high, sky view. All the memories can motivate and distract too. Sipping Hennessy and take the yak to keep my mind cool. I'm living, just living. A wonderful day, wanted to feel it. I'm chilling, just chilling. A wonderful place is where I'm living. They always interrupting my day, all in my face, doing nothing but invading the way. I'm just trying to have a wonderful day. It feels good to be living in a wonderful place. Where I'm from, the sun don't shine, rent late, bills ain't due on time. Where I'm from, the shot of GI, hard times, wonderful. wonderful days it's hard to find. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful day. It feels good to be living in a wonderful place. Ain't been worried about rent, not cents. I've been living in a place where a dollar like a cent. By my knowledge, my sense. Every day your life's a cent. To make a dollar out of cent, dirty money gotta rinse. Times it's hard, I get it. God forgives what you can't. And I swear I get it. They ain't suffer from the rain. And I swear I lived it each and every day. The happening ain't happening. Gotta make a way. This the way I'm living. Just living. A wonderful day. Wanted to feel it. I'm chilling. Just chilling. A wonderful place is where I'm living. They always interrupting my day, all in my face, doing nothing but invading the way. Watch out, I'm just trying to have a wonderful day. It feels good to be living in a wonderful place. Where I'm from, the sun don't shine, rent late, bills ain't due on time. Where I'm from, the shadow GI, hard times, wonderful days, it's hard to find. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful day. It feels good to be living in a wonderful place. Thank y'all, man. I just had to spin that record for y'all.
We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you coming out to give us such a word that's needed. And I just want to reiterate something. It is a brighter day. We have came from a long way. And we are going to go a little bit farther. As we go, it get brighter and brighter and brighter. Like the mayor, I came here 2 years ago, almost 3. And I were living in a shelter, me and my kids. But I had a dream, and that dream were for women, single women with children and women. Because we have issues. I know because I've had issues. I've been in that place where I didn't know where I was going to get food from. I've been in that place when I didn't know how I was going to feed my kids. I've been in that place when I didn't know where I was going to get shoes from. I've been in that place, but I've always had a vision. And you know, this morning, somebody called me and they talked about the rain. And I looked out of my window and I had a thought. And that thought I would like to share with you today. Rain come, storms come. But when you look at the rain and you want to stop, you don't. Because that's the time of pressing. Those are what you call difficult time to move forward. It's not going to be easy, but you gotta push. If you want to do something, reiterating what the mayor said, you can't look at today. I told my grandson that this morning. You can't look at the storms. You can't look at the difficulties. You can't look at your past. You got to look past everything that's happening right now and see what you want to happen. And don't give up. You keep pushing. We're going to do this bigger and better next year. And we're going to do some things. We're going to meet in August. And we're going to talk about things that we would like to see in this city. We're going to meet with the mayor. We're going to set a date. So when I put that call out, I would like for you all to respond and also have others to respond. Because we have leaders in this community. We have leaders in Moorhead that care and is concerned. They can't do everything. You know why? Because we have to get involved and do something. We have to become an active part of the community. We look for our leaders, we look for our mayors, we look for all the department head, the police department head, to do everything. But we We have to get involved. And we have to tell others to get involved. Now, I'm for real, and this is who I am. If you ever get to know me, or my grandchildren can tell you this is who I am. I'm here today, and I wanted Juneteenth in this community. But you know what? I couldn't do it by myself. I reached out, and they responded. That's Miko and Henry. Put your hands up so they know who you are. And I really appreciate that. And this is what we're going to do. We are going to, you know how you say, not that we ate the food, we're going to party. Yeah. So y'all ready? Yeah. Let's get it on.
I'm just going with the vibe, you know?
Already.
Yeah. Y'all gonna feel this one right here, though. No cap.
No cap.
Lately I've been in my feelings. Ooh, had to write my dog in the penitentiary. Ooh, think about my dog, trigger for hit me. Ooh, I'm a whiskey dog, please don't tempt me. Ooh, we just in protocol, and simply, yeah. And I'm always rolling like a 10-speed, yeah. That's never something about for anything, yeah. And that you ever got my energy.
Head doctor, your checkers be on point. Free my niggas in the joint. We still tighter than a joint. Hit the scene, instead of wrong way, ain't nobody left the point. And that's a dog, maybe 12. Straight parquet, easier grams on every scale. Resale or retail. Cross the leases, get retail. Pump your brakes, I got that back. A baggy like her ass, she shake. Right block blur, unemployed, but yeah, had work. Get deployed to fight the dirt. Tag his shirt, now he on shirts. Maybe I could've bought brand new rolling. But I got more magazines in the comic store. Them things come fully loaded. Play no games, break no chains. Throw that ass, girl, I control it. All them curves ain't no lane. Put your lane, do the dash, no pulling over.
Lately I've been in my feelings. Ooh, had to write my dog in the penitentiary. Ooh, think about my dog, think we're real big. Ooh, I'm a whiskey dog, please don't tell me. Ooh, we're taking protocol, in the simply, yeah. And I'm always rolling like a 10-speed, yeah. That's never something I for anything. Ain't that your vibe, I got my energy. Yeah, she told me, baby, keep me gently, yeah. I told her never go against me, yeah. You took my heart and left it empty, yeah. This shit you love, baby, don't tempt me, yeah. You gon' miss me, yeah. You can't tell me about no pain you ever lost a brother. They switching sides, changing lane, these niggas undercover. Give me that call from your dog, can you block the number? The shit is sad, you think it's love, but they plotting on you. Ooh, had to write my dog in the penitentiary. Ooh, think about my dog, think of it for real me. Ooh, I'm a whiskey dog, please don't tempt me. Ooh, we take that protocol, pretty simply, yeah. And I'm already rolling like a 10-speed, yeah. That's never something I for anything, yeah. Ain't that your vibe, I got my energy. I got my energy, yeah. I appreciate everybody coming out here, man. We in the rain with it, man. This the first Juneteenth. We did it major. Next year's gonna be even major. So all y'all, please come back. Man, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to DJs, bass painters, the crowd, all y'all, man.
Did something bad to you, you know what I'm saying? Go for females, just do something bad, steal from you. This for y'all.
Ass bitches.
You know what I'm talking about?
I ain't gotta say
we ain't
nothing.
fucking with y'all. Stay away from me. Give me my 50 feet, like O said.
I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Mind made up, go get this dough. It's like fuck your fag ass. Wanna be hard ass, see through like glass ass, nigga. I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Hey, mind made up, go get this dough. It's like fuck your fag ass. Wanna be hard ass, see through like glass ass, nigga. The way I feel, it's like fuck you, nigga. When I was broke, then a bitch, you wasn't round, my nigga. You my round, my nigga. What dog was supposed to be when I was off my game. Nigga, you stole from me, your whole ass weak. You gon' get what you deserve when I catch you in the street. You pussy, you leaking in the street. Better catch the first day smoking to catch this heat. Or catch one of my gorilla niggas hopping out the tree with an AR-15 that'll sweep you off your feet. Apologize to the street, don't apologize to me. Cause what you said, I ain't listen to ya. Whole ass nigga, what I'm saying when they mentioning ya. So what it do, dawg? What it do, cuz? Do the drugs, dawg, don't let the drugs do you, cuz. Supposed to be real and bit the hand of a nigga that fed you a meal and gave you a place to chill. I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Hey, mind made up, go get my dough. It's like fuck your bag ass, wanna be hard ass, see through like glass ass, nigga. I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Hey, mind made up, go get this dough. It's like fuck your bag ass, wanna be hard ass, see through like glass ass.
Watch me clear my tongue.
A hater gon' be a hater just like a bitch gon' be a bitch. A whole ass nigga watching my line, how the hell you gon' catch your fish? I keep my 9 on my side like Romo, no cowboy nigga, I'm a Texan. Got niggas like JJ Watt on they DN for them fixin'. Get you in your midsection, cop back tryna knock off your noggin. I know niggas in the street starving, no niggas in the street mobbing. Gotta keep my eyes on my prize, gotta keep my faith in the Lord. Never put no trust in the fraud. Spend my money for today, cause a nigga ain't promised tomorrow. Say bro, I'm out of IQ, out of makeup. I'm authentic nigga, and use a replica. I got the gift in the gab, the hook in the jab. I'm a swingers on the slab, swinging down the air. I'm a in the street nigga, not an industry nigga. That's why the streets love me, nigga. That's how a nigga eat, nigga. You a thug on Facebook, a killer on Instagram, a hustler on Twitter, but you a whole ass nigga. I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Hey, mind made up, go get this dough. It's like fuck your bag ass, wanna be hard ass, see through like glass ass, nigga. I don't fuck with you, nigga. I don't fuck with your hoe. Hey, mind made up, go get this dough.
Get your money, man. Get your mind on your money. Everybody else, man. If they ain't rocking with you, hey, you gon' tell them move out the way.
I'ma come to your house like Kim said, nigga.
Yeah.
Southside E. Tell leave the herb alone, man. Nah, fuck that. Let Chris O knock one of these niggas out,
That's
man.
for real, man.
Yeah, we in the streets with this one, nigga. From Tuscaloosa, you bitch.
Yeah.
I ain't gotta say no names, nigga. You know who I'm talking to.
Say, it's a hood in every place, it's a hood in every state, in every city.
He said what?
Sure,
I got you.
It don't
I want to see it on the film.
Love your hood, cause I love that. I'm Southwest.
In the back of your shirt.
Come back.
I'm a gangster from the jet, a young thug. I'ma die for my respect. See, I love my.
How many songs is he got?
Before I start, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the original lands of the Dakota and Anishinaabe peoples. In this country, we commonly remark 1619 as the first time African slaves arrived in the English colonies, which would later become the United States. During those first 157 years of enslavement, there came to be nearly 500,000 enslaved African Americans throughout the 13 British, soon-to-be independent colonies. Enlightenment philosophy and the fervor for self-determination among these British colonists led to the adoption of the Declaration of Independence by the Second Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776. Therein lay a promise. The basic idea that, quote, we hold these truths self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, end quote. Yet after the flames of war died, the institution of slavery did not. And as the ink dried on the ratified Constitution of 1789, the blood-soaked institution of slavery did not dry up and blow away. Rather, its signing sought to embed the wretched concept that African Americans were to be considered 3/5 human. That union was favorable to upholding the basic principles of revolution in the eyes of those undersigned. And thus, the trade in human beings continued. It took nearly a decade before the young United States outlawed the international slave trade, but the domestic slave trade carried on. Even in Minnesota, where some slavers sought to vacation, in Stearns, in Benton, Hennepin, Ramsey, and Washington counties, there were African Americans brought here by folks like the Lowrys, the Hayes, the Calhouns. And though the abolitionist movement grew in size, influence, and power, it took another 53 years and a great war. And a great final declaration for formal chattel slavery to end in the United States. Today, we're marking the final act of liberation in that great war. Juneteenth is the celebration of the culmination of the Emancipation Proclamation. It's a celebration of justice delayed, realized. The Emancipation Proclamation made by President Abraham Lincoln, issued on January 1st, 1863, declared as free the 3.5 million African American slaves in the treacherous southern states. Though at the time, only a small fraction of that number were liberated, as the war progressed, both black and white Union soldiers marched on, winning victories, which would bring liberation to all in that number, save 250,000 who remained enslaved by the rebel government in Texas.
We're gonna go get ice cream later.
And the army stationed there protecting. You see, Texas, which had been isolated during much of the Civil War and spared from most of the fighting, was seen as a safe haven by slavers, who, fearing the approaching Union armies, ran, taking the enslaved with them. On April 9th, 1865, the war was effectively over after the conclusion of the Battle of Appomattox Courthouse, and came with it the subsequent surrender of the bulk of the rebel forces. Though the largest rebel force in Texas was well aware of the defeat in Virginia on April 28th, the dissolution of the Confederacy on May 5th, and the surrender of rebel forces in Brownsville, Texas, those holdouts only surrendered on June 2nd. Finally, on June 19th, a day after Union forces arrived at Galveston, Texas, when General Order Number 3 was read, the people formerly enslaved celebrated in the streets, and the date became known as Juneteenth. As you can see, I think dates are important. We note on Juneteenth the long and unnecessary suffering of those who had to endure in shackles so long after this nation declared liberty for all as a right. Long after that right was again proclaimed during war, and long still after that war had ended in this nation's favor. We rejoice as those who endured, those who were able to endure, were only then able to savor the freedom that was their birthright. The freedom no one had to take from them, guaranteed by their existence, and freedom denied, realized. Their jubilation lives on through their descendants to this day. And yet, African American people were still enslaved. It wasn't until later that year, on December 18th, 1865, that the 13th Amendment was proclaimed ratified, that formal chattel slavery in the United States was abolished. It took 90 years after the claim of equality was made, and 247 years after the beginning of this human tragedy for Juneteenth to come for all 4 million plus African Americans. Jubilant as we are, it was clear then, as it is now, the promise remains unfulfilled. Though we celebrate, justice has been delayed.
Well, 10 of them will come from him to go high.
Indeed, built into the very text which was supposed to honor our natural rights was the substrate used to perpetrate our oppression further. As the practice of slavery was and is explicitly allowed in the context of criminal incarceration. Hereafter, it becomes abundantly clear in the history of this nation that lots of people have no intentions of completing the promise that I outlined. That the wretched concept had taken hold. Many people and the post-Civil War strides made by black people in business, education, and politics were all too quickly lost. And so the slave codes, which have formerly existed to keep us divided, illiterate, and in chains, were replaced in 1865 and 66 with the black codes, which were enacted by states, sought to control our labor, steal the franchise, keep us from bearing witness in court, in some cases dissuade us from living in northern states, made new crimes, such as vagrancy, or extended them so that they could be applied most efficiently to the new class of poor African American citizens, such that they were able to be arrested for merely existing and through force of legal farce, placed back in the chains they had only so recently escaped. Of course, this didn't come easily or all at once. In 1866, the first federal civil rights legislation was passed, guaranteeing citizenship, and wary of a bigoted tyrant in the presidency, a more radical Congress moved to ensure that Reconstruction took place by force if necessary, and that rights guaranteed by the law, newly ratified by placing the rebel states under Union Army occupation. However, those rebel states were readmitted. Ratifying the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendments, they were allowed to return. And the desire, if not the need, to hold these southern states to their word waned. Terrorism in the form of the KKK, as well as all sorts of both vigilante and government-sanctioned violence, was used in the immediate end and during the Reconstruction years and on into the Jim Crow era, which followed, to kill, maim, frighten, rob African-American Southerners into compliance with this new iteration of racial caste system. I can tell that through all that misery, the ancestors bore us. They lived and lived their hopes and dreams into their children, and the promise of equality, which at that point was only spoken by those who...
Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah.
You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back on up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Kick it with me. Let's keep them claps going for me. Kick it with me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply.
Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah.
You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Kick it with me. Let's keep them claps going for me. Kick it with me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side, and baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply.
Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah.
You type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side, and baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge and she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side, and baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready?
Yo, look.
Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown. And you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie, it seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes. And I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime. And we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy. And that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So, let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Let's keep them claps going for me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud. And you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Kick it with me. Let's keep them claps going for me. Kick it with me. Yeah. You're all I need to get by, no lie. So high when you're by my side. And baby, lately something has been changing. I'm getting kinda soft, and you're the one I'm blaming. True, let me be honest on this topic. Way in deeply. Shout out to Low Cash. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Y'all ready? Yo, look. Yeah. You the type of girl that will make my mama proud, and you the only girl that could ever hold me down. You a queen, baby girl, so you better wear your crown, and you'll always be smiling as long as I'm around. That means no lie. It seems kinda cheesy, I get lost up in your eyes, and I hate to admit it, but you always on my mind since the very first time. Saw a bad chick, that chick, damn, she's fine. Yeah, my homie and my lover at the same damn time. If I ever caught a charge, if she did the same crime, and we curving these hoes with the same damn lines at the same damn time. It's a vibe, you see. Yeah, I got her back, and I know she got me. Feeling all these hoes with that jealousy, and that's fine by me, cause she right by me. Yeah, right by me. So let's get them claps back going up. I wanna see everybody's hands moving. Richard, I'm talking to you. Clap your hands, baby. Nah, that's right. I wanna hear all these claps. Who's ready to have a good time today? Make some noise. That's what I like to hear, baby. Kick it with me. Let's keep them claps going for me.